Before we start jumping into weekly roundtable discussions in this community, I want to start you through something that will help you get more value out of being here. And that's setting clear, intentional goals for your business. Because a goal without a clear structure or measurement is really just a dream. And if you come into this community without knowing what you're trying to improve in your store, it becomes much harder for other members to help you solve problems. But when you have a clearly defined goal, suddenly the conversation becomes much more productive. Other retailers can give you feedback, share strategies, and help you think through ways to move that goal forward. So in this short lesson, I want to show you how I set goals inside my own store using the SMART goal framework and how you can use the same approach inside this community. Clear goals do a couple of really important things. First, they give you direction as the owner and operator. Retail is very busy. There are always 100 things competing for your attention. And goals help you decide what actually matters right now. But just as importantly, goals create buy-in from your team. Your staff may not care about increasing your owner's profit, but they do care about being involved in something more meaningful. They care about contributing ideas. They care about seeing results from their input. When a team understands the goal and their role is in achieving it, they start to take ownership of the process. And that's when things get really powerful. The framework I use is the SMART goal framework, which many of you have probably already heard of. SMART stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. What this framework does is take a vague idea and turn it into something you can actually measure and improve. Let me walk you through a real example from my own store. So at the beginning of this year, I wanted to set a goal for increasing the gross profit margin for each transaction within my store. Now that's just a dream and a statement that's not very actionable. It doesn't tell the team what to do. It doesn't tell us what we should measure in the process. So the next step is turning that idea into something more specific. When I looked at our numbers, I noticed something interesting. Our average gross margin per transaction was about 42%. So I set the goal to increase its number to 48%. But even that still isn't enough clarity. So I asked myself, what behavior could actually move that number? The answer was impulse purchases at the register. So the goal became increase the percentage of transactions that included an impulse item from 50% to 70% within the next 90 days. So now I have something measurable and something to work towards. Once the goal was defined, the next step was building a system to support it. In our store, we don't do upselling or suggestive selling, so the most important factor becomes what products we display at the register. That means we need clear criteria for choosing those products. The criteria became high margin items, small enough to display easily, seasonal relevancy, easy for customers to understand quickly, and retail price was approximately under $25. Once we had that criteria in place, we could start curating products intentionally. To make the system more clear, we divided up the cash register area into zones. We had Zone A, Zone B, and Zone C. Zone A was the closest to the registers and the pin pad credit card machine. So that is going to be your very high value, low ticket options. So jerky strips or small cookies, something that's displayed really in a small condensed space. Zone B was a slightly farther away, kind of an arm's reach for the customer, which was a great place to put like our poop bag display, something that was a necessity for the customer, but didn't need to have that high visibility. Zone C is farthest from the register. The customer has to move kind of to reach things. So those items needed to be large, visible things. So we stuck our stickers there. Jolly Ball, the little shelf display, larger, bigger jerky displays are kind of in those outermost rings so that you can see them as you're transacting and checking out, but still reach them and get back to your transaction at a reasonable time frame. By structuring the space this way, we turned the impulse section into a system rather than a guessing game. One of the most interesting parts of this process was what happened with my team. My staff may not care about how much money we make, but they do care about if their ideas matter. So when we started working on this goal, the team began suggesting products they thought would do well in each zone. And when something they suggested started selling well, they saw the results immediately because they were the one doing all the transactions. Now the goal isn't just my goal, it's something the entire team participates in, and they get really excited about it. The reason I'm sharing this example is because the process matters more than the specific goal. Every store will have different opportunities. Maybe your goal is improving your inventory, reducing your staff turnover, increasing your average ticket, or growing repeat customers. The important part is defining that goal so it becomes something measurable and actionable. So here's what I want you to do. Take a few minutes and think about one goal that would be meaningful to improve your store over the next few months. Then turn that goal into a SMART goal. Make it specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. I created a simple worksheet to help you get through this. Once you've done that, go to the goals board inside the community and share it with the group. This gives other members context for what you're working on, and it allows the community to help you move that goal forward. One of the biggest advantages of being a part of a community like this is that you don't have to figure it out on your own. When operators share their goals, ideas, and experiments with each other, progress tends to happen much faster. So take a few minutes to find your goal, post in the community, and let's start building momentum together. See you at the weekly roundtable.